Hello everyone. Today I'm here with Julien, Cydonia Perrault, a Canadian player for Escape Gaming and also the American champion, the current American champion. Hello Cydonia, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So we had a small introduction about you, but could you tell me a bit more about yourself?
Definitely. Yeah, I really like playing strategy games mostly, and for Hearthstone, I was really being competitive, and this is like the part I like the most about the game, all the competitive mindset and all of that, and it's something I think I apply a lot in different aspects of my life. But I also do a lot of sports beside Hearthstone, and I work in healthcare as well.
That's awesome. And you are also a robot from what I've heard from the community, right?
Yeah, definitely. I know a lot of people when they play Hearthstone, they are really emotional and make faces and really react with the game. But I'm really used to playing card games where I'm face to face with my opponents, like poker or things like that, and you can't really show your emotions too much, or people will take advantage of it. So I'm just really used to that. And even when I played at the HCT Championship, we were face to face with our opponents. So then it's good not to show too much when you draw a card or anything. But when I play on stream and I know no one's watching me, but I'm still gonna react the same way because I think it helps me focus, not to be too emotional about everything.
That's great.
That doesn't mean I'm a robot, but people are having fun calling me that.
Awesome. I think it's good to have a poker face in card games, etc.
Mhm.
So, does your battle deck have any special meaning or significance? How do you come up with it?
Yeah, there's a song I really liked. It's a Muse song. It's called Nights of Cydonia, and maybe like a long time ago, I made some characters in games and called it Cydonia, and then I just kept with it. And I
Awesome.
really like the name.
Awesome. So, you're a Muse fan.
Yeah, yeah, I am.
Great. So, how did you pick up Hearthstone and what do you like most about it?
I just started playing for fun because I had some of my friends were playing as well, and they thought I would like the game. And the reason I kept playing for so long is because it's a game where when you start, it's pretty easy to play and understand the mechanics, but then you really start seeing a lot of depth of strategy, and that's why I've played it for so long because I kept like coming up with new strategies and noticing more things about the game, and yeah, I think it's really interesting.
Alright. So, how do you approach each season and what strategies do you use to climb your way to the top of the rankings, get legend, etc.?
The way I approach it right now, I'm not really trying to get legend. It's mostly I try to learn all the decks that are good competitively. So if I see some people having success with a deck that I don't know very well, I will try that deck for a bit to make sure I learn all the decks that are relevant because I feel it really helps when you play against a deck to have some experience with it as well, to have a better idea of the game plan and how to counter it. So I will mostly just play a lot of different decks, try to learn them, and of course, if I start doing well with one deck, I will stick with it for longer. But since there's a big focus on tournament right now, and you need to bring 4 or 5 decks every time, you really need to know many decks if you want to be successful in Hearthstone. And of course, during like the last few days of the season, when you want to have a high ranking for points, it becomes worth it to actually go for high ranking. So if you can get a read on the meta game and try to counter it. But usually during the month, I don't really play like during the whole day or something. So if I play like for 1 or 2 hours during one day, it's not enough to really figure out what the meta game is because it changes so quickly, especially on NA. It's extremely volatile. So I think the best approach is to try to get better at the game and learn many decks.
I see. Interesting. What style of decks do you prefer playing and also do you enjoy the current meta?
I really like tempo decks or like mid-range decks. I really like the mid-range druid we had last season and like some tempo mage decks, stuff like that are really fun to play for me. Um, I'm not too sure I really enjoy the current meta because I feel it hasn't changed significantly in a long time. But there's all these cards that are really like RNG based, like Yogg and Barnes, and even like this card that I make, but it's not that bad compared to the other two. But the amount of games you lose to Barnes just because he got the right card, or to Yogg, is a bit disappointing because it feels like whatever you do doesn't really matter. So I think I really enjoyed the meta better. For example, last year, even when people were saying Druid was way too strong with Force of Nature combo, there were still a lot of decks that would counter Druid really well, and it wasn't 30% or 50% of the meta. But right now, it's really difficult to counter any deck because they can play some cards that are way too powerful when they hit the RNG properly. So I feel like skill matters a bit less.
Do you think this will change or when all of the Karazhan cards are released?
Um, I think it would change when, well, maybe if they make like a big expansion later this year with different types of cards, it could change. Um, I'm not too sure if it can change significantly without like rotating some cards or changing the classic set like some people suggested. Like there was obviously a really big change when Standard came out and the meta game was really fun when people were trying to learn the decks, but right now the meta has been really set in stone and it's not that interesting. I think it needs another shake-up soon.
I see. So, talking of that, you're in charge of making some changes in Hearthstone. What would you change?
Yeah, well, yeah, other than what we just said, yeah, maybe make a bit less cards that are
Yeah, apart
super
from the RNG
tricky,
part,
but
you know.
maybe make more cards that have synergy together. Like for example, I thought the mech decks were pretty interesting because you could like put a bunch of mech cards that were maybe not as strong individually, but were good in a certain deck. But right now it feels like most decks are just a lot of really strong cards, but yeah, of course, if you have like a Yogg deck, you will put more spells or things like that. But I like to maybe reward deck building a little bit more and have more variety of cards that will be good in different decks. The other thing I would change is about the tournament format. Um, it would be better if there were maybe longer tournaments, like Swiss with 9 rounds or something, instead of really single elimination format, or like the HCT is double elimination, but if you lose the first round, you need to win twice the amount afterwards. So maybe just I think Swiss would be better. Um, like I would like, and a lot of other competitive players would like, if the game rewarded skill more, so we would add incentive to try to practice and get better. But right now, it doesn't really feel that way.
I see. So after winning the 2016 America's Spring Championship, you instantly became one of the more known players here in the scene. How did that seem to you? Do you enjoy being a champion? Did you have many team offers? How was the overall experience?
Yeah, it was really fun. I was really focused on the tournament and on winning it, so I didn't really think about what was going to happen afterwards. But I got a lot of messages from people who watched the tournament and enjoyed it, and who congratulated me, so that was fun. And as well, I got some teams who contacted me with offers. So like overall, it was a really positive experience, and it made it possible for me to continue investing time in Hearthstone, especially since I'm going to BlizzCon, which is a really big tournament. So I really want to make sure I stay good at the game, so I can perform well there. And I think afterwards, I'm gonna like really see how I wanna take it, if I wanna keep playing as much, or see what's going on. But right now, it's pretty fun.
That's great. We are really sure you will make a great way in the World Championships as well. Probably take it for the NA, for Canada. So what are your goals for Hearthstone this year, speaking of that, and maybe the first months of the upcoming year?
Yeah, this year I want to. Well, I think like this is the last win that is released this month, and like this week, and afterwards the format will be set for BlizzCon. So I'm gonna really try to practice those decks as much as possible, so I can perform well at BlizzCon. And afterwards, I'm sure Blizzard will announce like their plans for next year, like which kind of if they're gonna change the format, or if they're gonna change the ladder, or and I feel like depending on what kind of changes they make, I'll see like I'll make objective depending on what the changes are. Like, I think it's possible they go with the same thing they did this year, like just having a bunch of seasons and getting points on ladder in tournaments. But I feel they might change it because there were a lot of complaints about it, even though it's much better than it was in the past.
I see. So are you planning to go to any other tournaments, maybe DreamHack or something?
Yeah, I registered for DreamHack Winter, so I'm really looking forward to that. I really like traveling, and I've never been to Sweden, so that would be really fun for me. And also, it's a pretty big tournament, so it's always fun to compete in those. And yeah, I'm going to Northern Arena this weekend, which is in Toronto. So um, there's always like it's hard to know in advance sometimes when the tournaments are. Sometimes it's pretty last minute, but I really look forward to having more opportunities to compete. Yeah.
Great. So do you have any advice or thoughts you'd like to share with your fans or other aspiring competitive players?
Yeah, I think it's a bit difficult to give specific advice like to a large amount of people because like if you want to be like a lot of people, they just want to reach Legend 1. So if that's your objective, you should like just take one competitive deck you enjoy playing, try to learn it as much as you can, and get Legend with that deck. But if you want to be a good tournament player and go to BlizzCon, for instance, then it's really more important to know a lot of different decks and just bring your skill level of the game as high as possible. Um, yeah, it really depends what kind of player you are. Like, and if a player is already very good with a few decks, then but is not performing in tournaments, then maybe it's more about the mindset or about tilting, or there's a lot of different factors. Like there's the mental game, and then there's just um,
Of course.
like understanding the game itself and what people like call skill.
Do you believe coaching helps bring your competitive experience in a higher level?
You said if I want to coach or if I think it's useful.
If you think it's useful.
I think with the amount of like, there's a lot of people, of high level players who are streaming, and you can watch those players and ask them questions and see what kind of plays they make. Like, of course, if there's like one specific deck you want to be really good at, and you're already very good, and you want to, you can get some coaching for that reason. But if you're not at a very high level yet, it's probably better just to try to learn from streamers or discuss line of plays with friends when you play, because hiring a coach, I just feel there's more cost-effective ways to do it. Like if your time is really limited and you really want someone to take you in charge and coach you, like feel free to do it. But I don't think it's necessarily the best way to get good at the game.
I see. Okay, I think we can wrap it up. Do you have any final shout-outs?
Yeah, I want to shout out to all those players I discussed like ideas with and who are always available to help me test. So I have like a Discord group going on that is really good. So I want to shout out to those guys, and yeah, shout out to my team as well for supporting me and helping me like start streaming. So if everyone wants to come watch, I'm trying to stream like maybe one or twice a week. So it's always nice to have more viewers. Like right now, it's been pretty small stream, but that means I have time to answer questions from people and discuss plays with you guys. So it's a good time to come watch.
That's awesome. We will be there. Thank
Cool.
you very much for having this interview with me. It was an honor to have you here today. You can all follow Cydonia on Twitter. I have a link right here, a name actually, at Cydonia HS Hearthstone. You make sure you drop him a follow. Thank you very much once again. Hope to see you making great in BlizzCon. Alright, thank you everyone for watching. Bye.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Bye.